The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Podcast coming to you Thursday, January 16th, 2025. Once again, with the man, Happy New Year to you, Mr. Sir Denny Blanco. He is the co-host of the It's in the Game podcast, also the creator of The Breakdown with Denny Blanco on TikTok, which may not exist past Sunday, actually. Denny, I'm a little worried about that too myself.
Listen, 2025.
Yeah.
New year, new run. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Always good to have conversations with you and share best practices and ideas. So thank you so much. It's in the Game podcast is the show. Appreciate it. Shout out to Randy J. Cruz. What is the vibe?
Well, let me ask you first. If TikTok does indeed get banned in the United States in the next 3 days, where does the breakdown go to? Where do we get the front of breakdowns?
Hey, we're still gonna be on Twitter. We're still gonna be on IG. Still under Sir Denny Blanco. You'll see the breakdown there. But let me be honest with you. I don't think they're going anywhere.
Me either.
Like if people's like folks are having conversations like, yeah, it's done. I'm like, let me tell you something. Let me say something to you. When it comes to they said the same thing in 2008 when it came to the banks in terms of bailouts. Yeah. And then I heard the phrase that I've carried with me forever. They're too big to fail. Yeah. TikTok's too big to fail. It's too big.
Not only that, there's so much money invested by even the consumers here in America, people who make money on there. There's too much backlash.
The ecosystem for TikTok and what it affects, it's too big to fail. So I see in the last hour possibly. We've seen some folks talking. Who knows? You see, I saw an article with Mr. Beast saying something like, "Oh yeah, I'll buy it." God bless. God bless that you could just wake up one day and say, how much? 50 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna buy that. God bless, Mr. Beast. Yeah, God bless. You're making so much money, $700 million allegedly a year.
Jesus. And what did he do again? I mean, I know he's online, but what did he do again? Oh, I think I lost you a second, buddy. Hold on. That might be the funniest still shot ever. So yeah, hold on.
There we go. Back at it. Okay.
You should have seen that.
Yeah, so I apologize.
You had the funniest. It froze, and you had the funniest expression.
Normally, but yeah, no, TikTok's not going anywhere because it's too much money to be made. The ecosystem, whether it comes to influencers, whether it comes to people are feeding their families off of TikTok. People have quit their jobs off of TikTok. So the landscape is definitely TikTok abound. And it's funny, it's interesting how the United States is worried about the TikTok being a international threat, if you will, right, for our privacy, but you're not worried about anybody else domestically about our privacy. You're not worried about our credit cards being stolen online. You're not worried about us not being able to afford eggs. You're not worried about none of that, but you're worried about TikTok. God bless.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk some NBA. That's what you're here for. I can't stop to think, man. The best story so far through the first 3 months of the year, because we're at the halfway point of the year now, pretty much. I know the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're doing Eastern conferences incredible. Obviously surprised, but to me, I can't stop watching the growth of the OKC Thunder out west and what they've done. Now, look, they were the number one seed last year too. So should this be a surprise what they're doing here? Not necessarily, but it's the way they're doing it. It's who they're doing it without, in spite of. It's who also in a conference that we still look at as a, the who's who, and I'm intrigued by this because, last year made the playoffs, went second round playoffs, lost to Dallas in 6. But not surprised by that because they're a young team. You gotta earn your stripes and all that. I'm watching this team now. I'm thinking stripes earned, right? Are you on the same page now? Are these boys title ready?
Okay, first and foremost, let me look at these NBA standings because there's a lot to discuss when you're talking about OKC. Yes, these boys are young, the young rookies. I wouldn't even call them rookies. I would just call them the baby boys because they're all babies. They're young. This is the point where they have to turn the corner and actually win games. Mm-hmm. They're winning games they're supposed to win. They're 33-6 in the West. SGA may be MVP. That's the bottom line. Even with the Joker as a center averaging 30, 13, 9, 80% from free throw, 60% from the field, 47% from 3. Those are all better numbers than his stat line when he won the MVP.
Either of the years.
So here I am looking at Randy J. Cruz.
Oh, Randy, isn't it?
He's like, it's SGA. And I'm like, is it though? I mean. And he's like, nah, it's SGA. And I'm like, the Nuggets are 4th. So 4th, 6th. That's the window that, if I'm not mistaken, was the window where Joker won that MVP. So when you come to OKC, I think they're right where they need to be. 17-2 at home, 16-4 away, 9-1 in there.
This last stretch in the last 2 weeks, and not in any order, obviously. I'm just going to be off the top of my head here that I've watched in the last 2 weeks alone. This last stretch in the last 2 weeks of them beating Boston, them beating New York, them beating every top team in the league right now that's competing for titles. Didn't it beat Cleveland also too? Or
they lost to Cleveland. They lost
to Cleveland to beat them. Right. But every top team they've pretty much gone through, for the most part. These last 2 weeks, and I think that's what stuck to me the most more than anything else is that now they're winning games not only that are supposed to, doing the games that we judge them by. And I look at this team, and again, I forgot that Chet Holmgren's not there yet. I forgot. I was like, Chet's on the team still. Damn. And don't forget too. Also, they were out Chet and Hartenstein for a good chunk of the year, and we're doing this. That's why this stands out to me more than anything else. This stands out is that they're doing with less and they're beating teams where they're supposed to. Do you think these guys are like? Because obviously, look, this whole thing changes up in the playoffs. 7-game series, you prepare for a team every night. But I feel like these boys are ready.
Only time will tell because playoffs are not regular season.
Right.
Cleveland knows that.
Yep.
Cleveland, you think Boston sit back like. Cleveland? It's Cleveland number 1. And then Cleveland's been literally number 1 the whole season in the East.
Yeah.
Boston's like, come playoff time, all that's going to go out the window. Because, again, you have to understand, 7 games to prepare for you.
Yeah.
And Darius, Donovan, you look so great going up against everyone else. Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum are 2 different animals. For 48 minutes all game.
Yeah.
That's what Donovan and Darius is going to receive. And that's when the separation is going to come in, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're going to be like, oh, you're good only for the regular season. James Harden. You're good only for the regular season. Come playoff time, there are some concerns. So it's going to be interesting because that's what the Celtics have to prove this year that last year wasn't a fluke. Allegedly.
Are there people saying it was a fluke last year? I mean, I know it was a little bit of luck with the health thing where they were all healthy and every opponent they played were not healthy. I get all that, but it ain't like these boys were not in the conversation for the last 6-7 years anyway.
That's the point. These folks want to say injuries. You know, what if this person was injured? Wasn't this person was injured? Was this? Boston sitting back like, word.
Yeah.
Word. All right, we good. We gonna see y'all. It's all right. Second in the East. But yeah, OKC. I'm excited about the once again SGA MVP candidate, keeping that team number one, even with Chet down. People thinking they're gonna drop. You add Isaiah Hartenstein. They don't miss a beat. They play defense. They're young. They run up the floor, and they like playing with each other, which is interesting because I would see old videos of the OKC Thunder, having fun. And right. I think it was a shout out to the Gilbert-Arenas podcast. I think it was the Gilbert-Arenas podcast. If I'm mistaken, I'm sorry. Yeah. But I think it was them where they were just like, no team is scared of. No, maybe Draymond. It was Draymond. No team is scared of this team.
He just talks
because they love each other. I was like, we gonna see. we gonna see what's gonna happen because you talking all that smack Golden State. You're 10th. Y'all in the play-in? Man, listen.
Oh, we got them in a second. I got words for those boys in a second. OKC was tolerating me. The Knicks were looking tolerated for a good while. It had a 9-game winning streak about a couple weeks ago, and then things just went up the skids a little bit. Now they play a little better. Now they won beat Philadelphia last night, but I'm starting to think though, Denny, that the Knicks ceiling is lower. Not because of the players they have. I love the roster. I think those players can, are good enough to win a title. I think the problem with the Knicks is going to be that coach that got on that sideline, Tom Thibodeau. To me, everything relies on. Again, this dude never learns, and I get it. This is who he is, and he has his rotations, and he likes to, to take those 8-9-man rotations and maximize those minutes, man. But goddamn, dude, you still have April, May coming up when it really matters. Like. And this has failed every time we're Chicago or Minnesota. It has failed. You need fresh bodies, man.
We've been having this conversation last. The Knicks are 27-15. They're 14-8 away, 13-7 at home. They're third in the East, and not even full strength because they don't have Mitchell Robinson, right?
Right.
So I say all that to say these folks are going to look at Tom Thibodeau's rotations, and early on they're going to actually be paying attention to it more than ever. But 27-15, this says you're one game behind the Celtics. I don't understand for those particular Knicks fans who are saying possibly. Tim Thibodeau may shoot himself in the foot. We're gonna see. These guys don't practice. And some of these games are practice to get their conditioning up, to get their chemistry up. If I'm not mistaken, Mikal Bridges came this year.
Yep, correct.
Cat came. The Big Meow came this year.
Who, by the way, phenomenal year.
There are teams that do not win. Did the Miami Heat win the first year when LeBron got there?
No.
Takes time, chemistry. We have to learn each other. So if this Knicks team, glory to be, wins a championship, it'll be phenomenal because the chemistry had to be there. They all had to be in sync. They all had to. So a lot of Knicks fans don't realize you just don't join a team and that happens.
Right.
Please.
But is there an argument though? Is there an argument that what Tom Thibodeau's doing minutes wise, rotations wise, which he's done in Chicago and failed, we did in Minnesota and failed? Is there an argument that line of coaching is not smart?
I don't think it's been proven. See, when you say in other stops it's failed, I don't think it's been proven to not work here with this current Knicks roster. You could say the other stops, people got hurt, got run down, and then they got bounced out the playoffs. Maybe you can say that. But other than that, last year, did the Knicks look run down at the end of? They just lost They just lost against a better team. This year, no Knick player, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Cat, none of them will say they're tired. None of them will use that as an excuse.
Of course.
You have to, once you're out there, you are out there. So Knicks fans, no, you can yell at the players for not coming back on D or not being in condition, having win condition to be able to go back and forth from the court. But Tom Thibodeau being responsible, I mean, and also too, you have to look at the bench. Yes, yep. Sims is they put Jericho in a couple of minutes last night. You have obviously Hug Porty. I think he needs some minutes because there be games they're not rebounding. Cat can only do so much as the big guy on the floor, and they're playing I think OG at the 4. And then you have Tyler, which I think if you have Jalen down and then you have Deuce to starting, but you have Deuce, it's too many guards. Deuce, Jalen, Tyler, and a campaign. So for me, you want development from Tyler, you're gonna have to get rid of campaign. Do I think Tyler's a better offensive player than Cam? Yes. Defensively remains to be seen. Remains. To be seen.
Right. Another story I'm really intrigued by in the season, in middle of January, is the resurgence of Russell Westbrook in Denver. This dude is balling. I mean, you can make an argument he's probably after Jokic and maybe Jamal Murray, the best player. And he's really been a catalyst of keeping this whole, because Denver's had a little bit of a slow start by their standards to start the year. Is this though? Given how things ended in LA a few years back, it feels like a long time ago, but it's really like 2 or 3 years ago. Is this in fact a indictment on LeBron James' leadership? Because he starts out flourishing he's flourishing hell in Denver with Jokic, and he did pretty well with the Clippers last year with Paul George and when Kawhi was healthy. Yeah. With LeBron, it's a problem.
I want to answer this correctly. Mm-hmm. It's both.
Okay.
It's both. It was a little bit, you know what? Is LeBron shooting shots off the backboard? Is LeBron passing the people off the foot? Mm-hmm. LeBron's not doing that when Westbrook was in LA. Did LeBron have Westbrook pass the ball inbound? That GIF that's online where it's just like pass ball, inbound, pass ball, indoor pass. LeBron's like, LeBron ain't do that. Westbrook did that. I don't think it's an indictment of LeBron at all. I think it's the environment. Less pressure. You leave home. You thought home was gonna be best. No, you leave home and let me think about it real quickly. Yes, this is the best center Westbrook has ever played with.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, his numbers are his numbers.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you're saying it's more fit than just.
I don't have to worry. I'm used to guard play. OKC guard play. Houston guard play. LA. I mean, you had AD, but AD's not Joker. Okay? Now you have Joker. And now you're in a different environment. And now they're saying, hey, we need you to push the second unit. We need you to be aggressive. We need you to play D. It's your second unit. Let's go. He's looked very comfortable. He knows exactly where the balls are going. The basketball needs to go. They've embraced him. They've allowed him to be him. And I'm happy for him because, his career was looking, they were trying to poo-poo his career, obviously from Houston to LA. And I was always the one, like, if Westbrook actually followed his game, because he's not a jump shooter. Even though in OKC he's streaky, he's not a jump shooter. Slasher, creator, tempo guy, defense. That's who he needs to be in a lightning bottle. And any team would take that. Any team would take a Russell Westbrook. You know what Russell Westbrook is?
What?
Russell Westbrook is what Ben Simmons was before he got the sickness, allegedly.
Okay.
9, 9, and 9, 11, 11, 11, 12, 12. He's going to fill the stat sheet up and then provide you with great defense. This is obviously the Ben Simmons before.
Yeah.
The variant you see now. So yeah, Russell's doing fine in Denver, and it's about environment, not so much LeBron. LeBron began. I mean, because his name is LeBron, it's all his fault all the time.
Fair, unfair, and I'm not one to always blame LeBron, but sometimes you got to call out things as you see it, and it's like, okay, this player don't play well there, and then it goes elsewhere, and now 2 stops now, and all of a sudden this kid is motivated and playing. Obviously not what he was in OKC, obviously, but he's back, he's productive again.
If I'm speaking for LeBron, I'd be like, if somebody asked LeBron, if I was LeBron, he'd be like, hey, what happened with Russell Westbrook in LA?
Yeah,
didn't work. He wasn't comfortable.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with me. Like, I can't control him shooting off the backboard.
Yeah,
I can't control him throwing the ball to the stands. I can't control that.
Yeah, it's more about fit. I would say more than else.
Yeah, I can't control that. And a lot of people want to be like, no, you can. No, I can't control that. It is what it is. This is the reason why in Cleveland some people stayed and some people left when LeBron was there.
Yeah,
there's a reason, or in LA. It is what it is. It just doesn't work all the time.
True. Whose side are you on in the Jimmy Butler saga? Jimmy Buckets or the Miami Heat? Well, who's right? As in your eyes,
Jimmy. Jimmy. Who's right? There's nobody. Neither of them is right. It's what's funny is I'm looking at it and I'm just like, is this business or is this personal or is it both? Is it? Because I'm sitting back, I'm like, wait, Jimmy's been your guy. He's the one that was in the bubble in the final.
Mm-hmm.
That was him. He was the one carrying your team with no players, maybe Bam, and that's it. Carrying them. And what did Jimmy Butler get for that, Pat Riley? You sent everyone that played with him away. Caleb Martin, gone. Max Strus, gone. So what is Jimmy supposed to do with that? What's Jimmy exactly supposed to do with that when you send away players? And then here comes the resurgence of Tyler Hero. And now I'm sitting back like, I have $50 million opt in, or I can seek a trade and leave this Titanic and try to help a team win, whether that's Golden State, whether that's Dallas Mavericks, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But Pat Riley sometimes, listen, whether good or bad, whether right or wrong, you didn't continue to build this team with Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy got hurt a couple times, understood. But you let Max Strus go, you let Caleb Martin go. Who's to say if you keep them, what kind of Miami team would this be with an addition of Tyler Hero going forward? Who knows?
So there's the logical thing of like, okay, I understand both sides here. Jimmy's side, he wants to secure one more deal because he's 36 years old, obviously. So, you want to secure that one last deal before you retire. One big deal should retire rather. Of course, and I see the Miami Heat's point of view where like, okay, well, no offense though, but you're a de-escalating player at age 36. It would, in my opinion, even as a Heat, I might be a Heat fan. This is obvious in business that it will be pretty much malpractice, in my opinion, to pay a guy who's not getting better to another $6 million per year, and then also restricting the team's ability to get better or to even compete.
What did I do for you? I'm Jimmy Butler. What did I do for you?
And he got paid for that. Though.
Did I? Yeah, he did. He got an extension. Now I want another one. It's business, right? I can't give you, and you just landed it. I can't give you that money at that price with this production currently. That's not you want me to give it to you based off the previous production.
And not only that, you're also not. And not only that, you're missing a lot of games anyway. You're getting hurt. You're missing games, and then you're like, I know Jimmy's problem really more about Miami has less. It's largely the money, of course, but it's also not feeling respected because of what happened. Okay, so I don't know if you remember the story about during the playoffs last year. He didn't play in that series against Boston in the first round of the playoffs because he was hurt, and he was tripping away on social media saying that had I been in this series, just be different. We won this series, this and that. And look, maybe he's right about that. I mean, we've seen in the past, obviously. So not like couldn't do it. He's done it before. But Pat Riley came out and said you need to keep. He didn't say his name, but we knew what he was talking about. That basically, if you're not playing, you need to keep your mouth shut. And he took offense to that.
See, LeBron's not in Miami no more. LeBron was in Miami.
Yeah.
You think the choice was to go back to Cleveland after Cleveland did him dirty? The owner was like, well, you think that LeBron's back in Cleveland mainly because of Riley? I mean, I'm sure it's partially the one reasons, but I think it's the narrative. There's a list of reasons why he went to.
That's part of the list. I agree with you on that.
Pat, you didn't want to pay D Wade extra money, Pat.
My thing is this too. If D Wade gonna get an extension here after that initial one, then who the fuck are you?
Wade County, D Wade, quite frankly, the third best shooting guard ever.
Correct.
The third best shooting guard in the NBA ever. My list. Yeah. Behind Kobe and Jordan.
Correct.
And you didn't want to re-sign him? Of course, people's looking at Pat Riley like another one.
Jimmy, Pat did this to LeBron, did this to Shaq, he did this to D Wade. So who are you, Jimmy? No offense.
Who are you?
I ultimately side with the Heat here because I mind because I'm a fan. Because I do appreciate what Jimmy's done for this franchise in the last 5 or 6 years. But it is malpractice. Look, if Jimmy's game was getting at least, let's say he's Kevin Durant. Let's say he shoot ball from the perimeter, for example. Okay, I can justify that because his game is going to age well at least. He may not be as good as he was 5 years ago, but he can still shoot the three from outside. He can still have a perimeter game. His game is all bully ball, dude. Which at his age now, in his age bracket, means more injuries, most likely, which we've been seeing for the last couple of years now. It to me, it's just malpractice to put in Heat to do this. I'm just curious now because he's back in the line. He's supposed to be back in the line tomorrow. His suspension's over tomorrow, 7-game suspension.
I mean, talking. I saw an article saying that he's not even flying with the team.
I don't know what's going on with that, man, but he's scheduled to play tomorrow night.
For me, he's not there for long. He's traded before February. For me, anyway.
You think
I
so?
don't see
where.
Why are we prolonging this? He said, "I don't want to be there."
But where? Because the only team we've seen show some traction about making a deal is Phoenix, and they're trying to dump off Bradley Beal, and Pat Riley don't want that no trade clause hitting there in that Heat roster. I'm sorry, I'm with Riley on that one too.
If I'm Pat Riley, I'm not taking Bradley Beal. F that.
well, it's not just Bradley Beal, Denny. It's Bradley Beal with a no trade clause.
Oh, right. So once you have him, you can't trade him.
Because if you want to trade him again, unless he says yes, ain't happening. And that was the whole reason why they didn't sign him in the first place, 2 years ago. So yeah.
Pat Riley once again. He said, what about Bradley? No trade. Don't even keep it moving. Don't even bring him up.
Any prediction where he goes? Any predictions?
Golden State or Dallas, one of them, but they're gonna have to give up something. Yeah. And I don't know what they're going to give up because would be some draft picks, something. But they're going to have to give up something because Pat Riley's not getting fleeced. No, sir.
No.
Pat Riley don't get fleeced.
Nope, hell no. You mentioned Golden State. Steph Curry made a comment the other day that despite the Warriors being a game under 500, that right now the best move right now is to pretty much stay pat, not do anything. Basically saying sometimes the best move is not to make a move at all.
This is who?
This is Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, interesting.
It's interesting because Steph Curry is still playing. He's still in his prime, but now we're in a situation now where they're not winning. They're not even part of the title conversation anymore. So, how long?
10th in the West,
right? How long will that be acceptable for him before he starts getting a little antsy? He isn't right now. He's happy in Golden State, so which is a good thing right now. But and look, I'm not in Steph Curry's mind and what, but because he hasn't said anything publicly about or even hinted about getting frustrated. But How long? I mean, how long before this happens? I mean, he says right now everything's okay. Okay.
No, he's frustrated right now.
He's frustrated.
There's been games. The game's over. They lost. He's just like, and I know because I'm the NBA whisperer, and because I've seen that face before. Carmelo had the same face.
Mm-hmm.
I did the breakdown with Denny Blanco was preloading. Got something on a Steph Curry, and I was just like, his back is hurting. Yeah, of course, it's gonna come back. Yeah, definitely got about 4 or 5 videos. Got a video about Steph. Got the Knicks video. Got a LaMelo Ball video, and then who is it? Who's playing in Denver? And then I have the John Morant dunk. I have that. Conversation needs to be had. But yeah, I said Steph. Yeah, he's carrying that team, and yeah, he's still in his prime. He probably has 4 or 5 years still in his prime.
Easy.
Right. You think he wants to waste that in Golden State if they don't keep getting better? Interesting.
But the optics say that he's okay. Like he hasn't made any.
Like I said, there's been times. Steve Kerr had a conversation about it, saying he's frustrated with the process of what's going on. Steve Kerr acknowledged it, and he should be. How many rings again?
4.
4-time NBA champion. I don't deserve to be treated like this. I don't deserve to be treated like this. I deserve to have players flocking to me or my organization doing work to bring in players. Now, I've had conversations ad nauseum about where this team might be if Jordan Poole was still on it. And Lord knows. Lord knows who knows what this team might be where you have an actual young guy who's supposed to be the heir apparent to the guy who's playing right now.
Right.
Lord knows. But they made a decision. And quite frankly, I don't know if that decision was the best decision for them, to be honest with you. I don't know. And then I mentioned Jordan Poole, and I'm like, you don't think anybody in the East would love Jordan Poole to come off the bench and give him a quick 18? Light? Yes, they would. But yeah, Golden State, Steph, I don't believe he's going to keep this patience. Kobe Bryant asked for a trade. He said, who? What?
Asked for a trade twice, actually.
I asked for Jason Kidd, and they gave me who? For what? Please, get me out of here, bro. And then the next year, they said, hey, his pal, here. Just take him, please. Is this enough?
Then two rings later, all is well.
Is this enough? Okay,
yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, but if Steph, Steph is a gentleman, he may look into the camera one day and be like, it's not looking good.
Yeah. So speaking of Steph and the Warriors, trade deadline is less than 3 weeks away. Any big names or notable names out there that you can see be moved in the next couple weeks? I mean, obviously, we have Jimmy Butler, of course, is the biggest one right now on the block.
Right. I mean,
who else out there that we're not talking about that could be on the move?
I mean, still early. Wow. I just see something about Vucevic from Chicago. He's always he's always on the wire. But that's the biggest.
The Bulls are always trying to break things up with Levine and those guys. Yeah.
Quite frankly, Zach LaVine is having a hell of a year, and no one cares.
Because Chicago. He's
having a hell of a year, and no one gives a damn. And I don't know why. Well, I mean, Chicago. Yeah, 10th. They're in the play-in.
I saw a trade scenario from one of those aggregate sites that had LaVine going to Miami with like Christian Wood and Jackson Hayes, and in the deal was the Bulls, the Heat, I think it was the Sixers and some other team
deal.
And like LaVine, the funny thing with LaVine is this though, is that the risk on LaVine is that isn't necessarily production. When he's healthy, he plays very well, as you've seen this year. And actually, that contract doesn't look as bad in comparison to what you're seeing now going forward. The problem is, do you get him to play? He's going to be healthy and under the rest of his deal, and he's still pretty young too. Also, still 27 years old.
He looks healthy, and I mean he had 2 years off.
I would hope so.
What? Zion.
Lion. like Zion.
Talking about 2 years off. Zion, your man played a game, and the next game he said, I have a hamstring. I'm not playing next tomorrow.
I already told y'all, man. I think a lot of this stuff he's doing is just trying to force their hand and get rid of him. I think if he goes to the bigger market he wants, or whatever team wants to go to, he'll straighten up real quick. I don't think it's happening in New Orleans.
I thought when I pay attention and I listen to things, I hold it and I remember. When there was an article that suggested that Clutch Sports, they were his agent at one point, Zion.
Yeah.
And there was a report that said Zion's team was upset with Clutch because Clutch got him the contract, but in the contract, the most recent one, in the contract, it had clauses for his weight.
Yeah, there is.
Clutch was like, all right, we out. Clutch dropped him, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. For those that are watching, and maybe it's the other way around, because I don't believe it could have been that Zion dropped them. But either way, let's say Zion dropped them, Clutch. What team would actually take on no different than Jimmy, whether it's you looking at the whole entire picture. What team is taking on Zion with no weight clauses? That would be shooting yourself in the face and then shooting yourself in the foot. It just doesn't. It wouldn't make sense at all. God bless. Again, I would love to see who re-signs Zion. If he gets another check in the NBA, I would love to see it, and I want to see if Ben Simmons gets another check in the NBA.
Ben Simmons, I think is going to be out of this league in April.
I want to see who and why. Someone would be. I don't even want to use the word. Someone would want to give that man another contract. I would love to see it
because someone wants to be. Yeah. The only way Ben Simmons on the contract is it will be on obviously a vet minimum. Obviously,
because God bless, he's been paid to do the last 3 years. He's been paid, and right now, I think I saw another. I saw something to the effect of, "I know we're." It had to be a quote from him, something to the effect of, "No, I know we're not either. I know we're tanking, but we gotta play with some play to win." I'm looking at it like. Ben Simmons said this? Ben Simmons said this. While you got guys on the Nets team playing every single night, getting cracked by 30, by 20, by 10.
Yeah.
And you're saying the guy that plays once every 15 games, you want to say that?
Exactly. So I'm intrigued by. Okay, so I don't think Simmons has moved. Zion definitely is a possibility. What about Brandon Ingram? That's quieted down a little bit. And now with the Pelicans, pretty much. I mean, I imagine it being sell mode, right? With their start of the year.
Jesus! They had so much potential, and then they got two of their cornerstones who got hit. I don't know if it's to be honest, I don't even know if New Orleans is bad luck, because I'm sitting back and looking at the landscape of New Orleans, and I'm thinking, okay, Chris Paul, David West, they leave. Then you get Holiday, AD,
they leave.
Boogie Cousins,
yep,
they leave. You get BI, obviously you get Zion. Now they can't stay on the court. I don't know. I just don't understand what's going on with New Orleans Pelicans. I don't know if it's a curse, but BI. Anybody would love to have BI, but of course, I saw him disappear last year in the playoffs.
Yeah,
disappear, gone, like 7 points.
Poof, vanished without trace.
They say he was healthy. I saw a variant running up and down that looked like him, and it looked like he was just doing wind sprints. It looked like he was just like, I'm just here to be here. Give me my check. So yeah, it's going to be interesting by the trade deadline. What happens?
Who's involved
in what?
Any predictions? You said Jimmy be gone, right?
Jimmy either going to Dallas or
Golden
Golden State. Other than that, you really don't have any predictions because a lot of these folks will either throw out false rumors and then all of a sudden do a sham. Sham's gonna be like, oh yeah, no, Jimmy's going to Chicago. It's like, what? Huh? What? Where'd that come from? So it's always going to be something interesting.
Right. So okay, it's a little bit of I don't want to call it beef going on here, but former NBA All-Star Brandon Jennings had some comments about Jayson Tatum. Now, on this podcast, and all the folks on this podcast who listen for the last couple of years know that Jayson Tatum for me is a little bit of a complicated bird in a sense, and how we rate him as a top 5 player, this kind of thing. And I've always said that he has top 5 talent, but there's something missing. There's no dog in him. So Brandon Jennings had some comments. He shared on the you mentioned earlier. I'm not mistaken. Is the is this the
Arenas podcast?
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. And he had some words about Jayson Tatum on the show. I'm gonna play this clip real quick of what he had to say here.
So tough, why you didn't get Finals MVP last year? Why you let your running mate do it? If you so tough, if you so all this,
but you led in every category.
Why you didn't get it? Why you didn't get it? Why you didn't get it? Why you didn't get it?
Yo, is he the softest Boston Celtics superstar ever?
That's being crash out time.
No, I'm not champion like that.
Hey, watching the game the other day when they lost to Cleveland. That was
with the capital or lower case.
What do we know about Boston Celtics players? Like anybody that put on us Boston Celtics, like jersey from the 80s on up. They cutthroat, right?
Yeah. Who?
Oh, here's the they cutthroat.
No, they was not.
Cutthroat.
Them niggas doing the shimmy, chucking threes, doing this shit.
Did Tatum get punished because the Celtics squad is so good?
I just think his running mate Jaylen Brown is more like I'll be more afraid of Jaylen Brown than Jayson Tatum.
Wow.
I love Tatum. I've been a Tatum fan, but watching him lately, it's not aggressive, bruh. It's too quiet. It's too laid back. He's too laid back. Jaylen Brown gonna get to it
until your ass got out there and had to guard it.
Yeah,
shit look cool till you got to guard it.
Different.
Yeah.
All right, your thoughts on that, man? Because again, this dude, it's complicated because I can see the Jennings' point. I can see that was Nick Young thing also too on that episode. I can see his point too also because he's very demure, I guess we'll call that, very calm, very level-headed. He reminds me of a guy named Tim Duncan, though, who's also a top 10 guy for the record.
Would you say him and Dame have the same temperament?
Dame Lillard and Tatum? I can say that's a little bit accurate, yeah.
Dame Lillard, Tatum, and Tim Duncan.
Right, and Tim Duncan didn't get that kind of I'll say it, disrespect. I said it entering the year. I'm not sure it was with you on the show, but how strange it was to see a NBA champion or championship team in the Celtics. And granted, we understand how they won their titles last year and the breaks they got, but so disrespected. Tatum especially getting disrespected, not just with not getting Finals MVP, but also barely playing in the Olympics. He was on the roster, but he barely played. And then just the way we've all talked about him. And I've always said that, yeah, it's a little frustrating because he has top 5 talent, but he's not quite, in my opinion, a top 5 guy. And it might be because of the fact he has no dog in him, I guess. I don't know. But should that matter if he's getting the results? He won a title last year. He's averaging 30 a game or close to it right now. He's doing his job. He's just not flashing the same way. Are we a little too harsh on the guy? Does Jennings have a point that he's the softest Celtic of all time?
I mean, the point. Shout out to BJ, Brandon Jennings.
Yeah.
He shared his opinion. Is his point valid? I don't know, because you want him. The statement was you want him to win Finals MVP. That was a statement.
Right.
Brandon Jennings was like he's soft because he didn't win Finals MVP. And I'm confused about that. We're talking about let's put this all into perspective. Brandon, you're talking about a guy who won a championship. Brandon, you're talking about a guy who averages currently 27, 9, and 5 on 45% from the field. You're talking about a guy who's 26. You're talking about a guy who's on the second best team in the East. So when you say maybe he says, I don't see killer. I don't see, aggression. I don't see that's cool. That's cool. We're going to find out if it's needed to win championships.
It has one. So
right. So So Brandon, God bless. I don't know if they win another chip. Jaylen Brown wins another Finals MVP. You're gonna say Jayson Tatum is soft again? Okay, God bless. 2 rings to 0. What are we talking about here? You're talking about soft, but all I see is a guy who makes plays. All I see a guy who defends. Shout out to Dallas. Okay, this is a guy who's soft. Let me tell you how soft Jayson Tatum is. He's so soft, he was defending 4s. Dallas, the 4. Who's the 4?
Is it Lively? No,
PJ Washington.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to defend PJ Washington at all. Not supposed to be able to. But he's doing that. He was doing that last year. Dallas and Boston got away with it. That's how they won a chip. How is that not a killer? How? That somebody would be like, oh, you got to guard a foot. Like, no. I only guard 3s. No. Obviously, we already know about Jaylen Brown defending the best wing every series.
Yeah.
Every series. Darius Garland. Then he defended obviously he defended Luka, defended Kyrie. He defended Jalen Brunson. Okay? So whether I'm not going to poo-poo his opinion, Brandon Jennings. It's his opinion. That's how he feels. But I'm asking Brandon, why does it matter? Because Dame doesn't give you emotion. Dame doesn't hoot and holler. Tim Duncan never hooted and hollered.
Yeah, I think people are so used to and they're fixated on the way, that there's only one way to win titles, and the way that Jordan did it or Kobe did it is the only way to do it. And I'm sorry, I think that's wrong.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, you say it's wrong, but I mean, Golden State. I mean, whether you say Draymond or Fear, whatever, what have you.
Let me not say wrong word to use. It's narrow-minded to think that that's the only way to do it. Magic Johnson smiled to 5 titles.
I mean, and Kareem was the killer.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Kareem was the killer.
Steph Curry shimmied his ass to 4 titles.
Draymond was the killer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we and the players we're mentioning were the best players on those teams for the record. But they had another guy. So in this scenario, Tatum 1 title, Jaylen Brown killer.
Again, that's why I'm asking Brandon what's the end all be all, because if he's not a killer, which you're suggesting that he is, he's only won 1 title and is on the second best team in the East.
And again, I can understand what he's coming from, because he's frustrating, because he does have those. He has moments where he will not melt down, but he'll
kind of like shade into the background.
Right.
Totally agree.
Right.
Totally shading into the background. Say that. Saying he needs to win NBA Finals MVP because that will establish him as the tough guy. I'm like,
right. And Steph Curry didn't get his first Finals MVP until his 4th title, which and before then he was already considered top 10 player. So
whether it's Iguodala, whether it was Kevin Durant, it's just like,
right.
We all know it's a team effort. We all know this guy was the one that for the last 4 games played very well. But if it wasn't for that guy and Steph, we wouldn't freaking be here. So the concept, if it wasn't for Jalen Brunson and Jayson Tatum, Boston would be nowhere.
There you go.
So it's very interesting. The disrespect. I think him and Trae Young probably the most disrespected people in the NBA.
Trae Young, interesting. Okay.
Trae Young doesn't get the respect because he doesn't play the defense. I think that a lot of folks are required to. A lot of guards his size are required to, and that rubs people the wrong way. He gonna give you 30 and 15.
Yeah.
He gonna give you 30 and 15 assists with like 8 threes. Yeah. But what's the other team gonna have?
Yeah. Exactly.
And then I'm looking at the standings too. I'm sorry. I know you want to get out of here. And I said,
no, you're good.
Atlanta's 8th.
At that slow start too. Also,
Atlanta is A-okay with some of the players that they have. It's a young team, so they're doing all right.
By the way, keep eyeing Detroit. Keep eyeing Detroit. Those boys.
Listen. I don't know. I have a video with Cade Cunningham. I saw
that video actually.
Kay Cunningham did the New York Knicks dirty. And I was just like, Knicks fans was a little upset. Definitely a winnable game. But I said, listen, when you got a 6'6" point guard who's allowed to do what he needs to do and is learning, it's LeBron. LeBron-esque.
Yeah.
Baby LeBron. He's 6'6" point guard. No different than LaMelo. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do. And mind you, I'm talking about like one-on-one, him coming down. But then you throw a pick, high screen, you're dead. You're dead. There's nothing you can do when the high screen comes and he's coming off. You're dead. Your big man's lost. He's going to do what he needs to do. But Detroit's winning. They're learning how to play. I'm happy for them because it's well-deserved. So they're seventh in the East. So they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, they're problem. And that middle of the pack. Now, granted, Indiana's playing better basketball now as of late after that really rough start. They're starting to come a little dangerous now. But the East should be pretty interesting here. One last thing, Johnny. One last thing. Ratings. Ratings have been really low this year for the NBA for myriad of reasons. Whether it's style play, whether it's just people just not having time, making time of basketball. To me, I'm not so worried about the ratings right now because early in the year, especially this year, election year, you have college football and NFL, and the playoffs now expanded, of course, in both leagues. I'm not worried about it now. I want to see the ratings in February and March when things start getting closer and things ratchet up. Then I'll be a little worried. Your thoughts on the ratings? Do you think it's all overblown? Do you think this should some concerns?
I look at, just a normal night, and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, there was a night where it was a Monday. Mm-hmm. Was it a Monday or Tuesday? I think it was just a Monday. So you have football, Raw, NBA games.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with my 3 remotes like, one TV. Acknowledge me. Oh, no. Tackle. Uh-oh. Leave it. It's a lot of viewing. October.
Do what I do. I have 3 TVs in the downstairs.
It's a lot of September, October, November, December.
A lot of content.
January, February. It's a lot of viewing. And then you just mentioned, you hit it right on the head. NFL said, we're expanding. We need some of that money. And they expanded. And obviously you got the Netflix football game. And you got, wait, did they do Christmas too? No.
Yep, sure did.
They did football, did Christmas, right?
Yeah, 2 games in fact, yep.
Right. So normally I'm like, wake up on Christmas Day. I'm like, oh, I got 5 games to watch. Yay. Wait, I got football too? Oh, how am I going to split this? So it's a lot of TV, but you make a point again. April, May, June. Because the regular season, that's why they're trying to make the in-season tournament, they're trying to make it something. Diehard fans really are like, colorful courts, whoop-de-doo, seatings, whoop-de-doo, and then you got the players having to act like they're excited. None of them are. It's just like, oh, yeah, it's going to be competition. Yeah. No, so getting the regular season to be hyped before January is kind of tough. January, February gets everyone seated into where they're going to be going into the playoffs, and then the playoffs start, and then that's where, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the first round used to be 5 games.
Remember those days? The
first round used to be 5 games. They said we need some more money. Make it 7. So they
think it's oversaturated. Number one, I do think also
they made it 7. Sorry, and then they extended it to 10 teams as opposed to 8.
Mm-hmm.
So they extended it. So it's going to be an adjustment period when it comes to viewership. And then I have ideas about the All-Star game that we can get into later on.
Would you say the aesthetics though? For me, a little bit, and I'm a diehard, so I'm not but I go to see the argument though. The aesthetics of the game turning to just a 3-point shooting contest all day long, like the Celtics. You see the Celtics; they're shooting 50-something threes a game, which is unheard of. Look, I love 3-point shooting, but that's not all I want to see. I want to see more. I want to see more mid-range game, more dunks. More post ups.
I don't know if that's affecting the viewership of the game, but yes, 1,000%. Me and Randy talk about this all the damn time. You will definitely watch some games, and you'll see a possession, maybe 5 or 6, where a big man or a guard has a layup, and they're kicking out for a contested 3.
Yeah.
What? The closer you are to the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was just like, what do you think about all this 3-point shooting? Kareem was like, the closer you are to the rim, the higher the percentage of the ball going in.
Not 2025.
I mean, see, that's the thing. More attempts, more 3-point attempts, you're like, okay, they'll start falling. The conversation was no team 10 years ago. The conversation was no team can rely on a 3-point shot and win a chip. Golden State and Boston proved that's wrong. But those are probably the only two. And look at the team and how it's constructed. That's the difference. You just can't say any team can do it. No, they have to be constructed a certain way. Could the Houston Rockets of James Harden have done it? Absolutely. Absolutely. That team could have done it. Yes. The Golden State team? Yes. And obviously the Boston Celtics team. Yes. But you know how you go against that? And once again, it's unfortunate because the cure for the 3-point barrage of Boston, the cure is Embiid. But because Embiid isn't healthy, he can't beat them. That's the only way you beat a team that's shooting threes. You get a big who's going to draw double teams, who's going to get the other team in foul trouble, who's going to slow the game down. That's how you beat. You can go shoot 3 for 3. You can try that. But from what I've seen, yes. So you need a big, and Embiid, the best big, Cat. Sorry. Cat. Yeah.
Meow.
That's what the Knicks are going to try and prove against the Boston Celtics and against, obviously, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have the better big in both of those matchups. They have the better big.
Yeah.
So does that give them the full advantage going forward? Because if Cat's just roaming around the 3-point line and not drawing fouls, it's not going to help them. But if he gets down in that post and puts Porzingis, Mobley, Allen in foul trouble, now you talk about money.
That's
so
right.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the near future. But that all those 3-point shots, the 3-point barrages, they kind of slow down come playoff time. So
yeah. Plug away, brother. Plug away what you got.
Say again.
Plug away.
Oh, my plug, yes, sir. It's In the Game podcast. Randy J. Cruz. Come to the page. Check the notification button so you know when we drop every single week. Obviously, the breakdown with Denny Blanco. Hey, listen.
You see it.
You see it. You lean in. And hear me good. Okay. You need sauce when you're watching your highlights. Shout out to Kevin Harlan. You know who Kevin Harlan is, right?
Of course, Kevin Harlan is. Yeah.
One of the greatest play-by-play guys.
Yes. Especially in NBA basketball. Yeah.
Across all sports, because he does football too. He does football, does basketball. Right between the eyes. See, that emotion is needed. And when I do my highlights on the breakdown with Denny Blanco, that's the emotion that you need. You don't need a dunk happening and then you hear, he dunked it, yay. That's not what we need. That's That's nothing. So please,
energy.
You need the energy. You need to understand. It needs to feel like you were sitting right there when the actual highlight happened.
Yeah, of course.
That's what you need to feel, and that's how you feel when you watch the breakdown with Denny Blanco. So please come to the page, Sir Denny Blanco, all handles, TikTok, IG, Twitter. It's In the Games, the pod. We love you, Ernest. We appreciate you having us on. Always appreciate you having me on. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Happy New Year, brother.
2025.
Yes, sir.